but I'm Don Chilapallia from the College of Business. I run the Small Business Consulting Center. You'll hear a lot more from me later when we talk about some of the services and programs that we have. But I'm going to turn it over to Brianna, who's the person who actually has organized all of this for us and that you folks are going to contact. Brianna?
We are so thrilled to have each and every one of you here today. I work for the Small Business Consulting Center out of the EMC, part of SDSU. And over the last few semesters, we've been reaching out to businesses. So this idea came to us of having a segment where we can reach out to multiple people in one solid morning. So welcome, thank you for participating. Just to give you an idea of the agenda, I'm going to kick it off, covering social media. And then we have a QuickBooks guru coming in to give us talking points on record keeping, QuickBooks, payroll compliance, kind of some need-to-know pieces on the record keeping. And then to finish it off, we have a team covering lending. We have a great power trio of Axiom, SBA, and CDC. So they'll be speaking around the 11:45 range.
Okay, so I want to again welcome everybody for coming today. My name is Sean McClendon. I'm the CEO of My Social Media Monster. Like Brian said, I've been doing social media for about a decade. I hope everyone got a chance to enjoy the great refreshments. I do have to make a confession though, that I think I'm good with coffee, and I love coffee. And I have to, most of the time, tell my clients and my colleagues that my day doesn't actually start until I've had a cup of coffee. Anyone in here agree with me on that one? Understand what I'm talking about? Right, so I have to tell people, so if the day comes that I didn't have a cup of coffee, I think that those days shouldn't count, right? Right, anybody agree with me? Because you there you go, see I got a big pen in the front. So those days shouldn't count, and they shouldn't count because basically I don't know what I'm going to do at that point if I haven't had my coffee. So anyway, I'm going to get started with my presentation. So I know this is what you guys came to see or discuss. Paid the big bucks to get in here. I mean, it was a free seminar. You know what? The best thing about a free seminar is, of course, speaking at a free seminar, is that you guys can't get upset if I suck, right? There you go. So it makes it a little easier for me. It takes all the edge off. So the name of this seminar is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly about social media. There's a lot of subjects that we can go into about social media. I packed a lot of stuff in, so I'm going to hurry along in the beginning. I have a social media exercise at the end that I want to get to that I think will help you guys immensely. So the topics for the discussion today will be defining social media, number one. The good, which are the benefits of using social media for your business. The bad, which are the cons of using social media for your business. Visibility. The ugly, the cons of using social media for your business, and social media exercise number 5, and then at the end we'll get into a question and answer period. So let's get started. So defining social media. Welcome to the party, now don't be an idiot. So I say that because to me social media is like a big party. And if you guys can understand this concept, I think you'll be much more successful at running a social media campaign. So when I say it's like a big party, it's not just a big party, it's like a party of the year, right? You guys all can think back to whenever it was that you did your party, when you went out all the time and that type of thing. And it's the party that everybody was talking about, all your friends are going to, everyone you know is going to this party, right? So you're all prepared, you're excited about this party. Days of weeks, you're thinking about the party, you're excited, but one problem, you're a business owner, right? You don't have that much time. And so you're contemplating whether or not you want to go to the party. You know that day is going to be very busy for you, so you decide, okay, well, I'll think about it, I'm not too sure. So the day of the party comes around, you're sitting around, you're working hard, you get off at 5 o'clock, still thinking about going to the party, not sure. So you get off of work, you get home, and you're tired. Now you're tired, you're not sure if you're gonna go to the party, you wanna go but you're not sure. You don't have much information about the party anyway. All you really have are directions to the party. So you're kind of nodding off, or you're working on the computer like most of us do as small business owners, and your friend calls. Your best bud calls and he's at the party. Going back to Twitter, what we do, or what I have a lot of my clients do, is the same thing. So when you go back to answering that complaint, usually you opened up kind of a, let's just say, a can of worms. Because that one complaint, other people are talking about that complaint. Maybe other people have had that complaint. So you end up getting all these people that are complaining to you about maybe your product or service, which seems very bad, but in essence, what it does when you do answer that complaint, it just shows again that you're active and you're engaged. And a big group of people can now see this. Improve service delivery, such as cafes that accept to-go orders on Twitter and Facebook, or cupcake carts and caravans that notify customers where and when their cars will arrive. So if you have any kind of service where you're constantly moving, or maybe it's just you as an individual, you're in certain places at certain times, maybe you want to let people know that you're there. That way, these stragglers, maybe someone sitting out there wants to hurry to get here, and they can get here, and they know exactly where I'm at. So it's a good way. It's a good way to just let people know where you're at any given time. Number 5, not only are you on social media, but all your competitors are on social media. So it's a great way to do market research for yourself. So if you're one of those small businesses that, like a lot of small businesses, that kind of jumped into it and didn't do all your research, social media is a great tool to not only do the research for yourself, but see what, find out what all your other competitors are doing. Because if they're doing it successfully, then they're doing a lot of the things that you should be doing. And they did a lot of the research on their own company so that they can do those things successfully. Use new geolocation services to drive local traffic during slow times and acquire new customers. How many of you guys have heard of to put you ahead of the competition right away is always ask open-ended questions. You see businesses, 20% off, new product. Well, that's not a question. That's 10 open questions, 1 push marketing, which is, again, pushing your product in front of people. So if you just keep that ratio, 10 engaging questions and 1 push marketing, that 20% coupon, you'll probably be a lot more successful with your campaign. The ugly, time commitment. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because it's a hard deal when you're running a business and it says cover photo dimensions, it's 851 by 315. Yes.
What would you do differently in social marketing if your clientele was older, like baby boomers, Gen X type people, because their fixes aren't very smartphones and stuff as much as younger population might be. But they do have Facebook accounts, they have email, they get on do the internet and do different things like that. I would have to believe there's probably a differentiation between how you use social media for different age groups of people. Do you have to address that more easily?
Yeah, the way I address that usually is, I think that's individual to the business. I think it's more understanding your client, more so than it is doing something different with social media. I think if you have clients that are using social media, for the most part, it's gonna work the same for everybody. But if you know your clientele, they're just maybe a little different way that you speak to them. And that's the best advice I can give you. Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Speaker. And on that note, I mentioned our next speaker is Jane Ryder. Jane is an enrolled agent with the IRS. She's a CPA candidate, and she works for Intuit, who is the program for TurboTax, which owns QuickBooks. So who better to give you some QuickBooks knowledge than Jane? I'll hand it over. Might be in a minute.
Everybody has a slide. You handouts there if you want to make any notes. And I'm going to basically go through the slides. Just to give you a little bit of background, I am a programmer for TurboTax. A lot of people don't know they actually make TurboTax in San Diego County. It's off 56 in Penasquitos. That is owned by the same company that owns QuickBooks, and QuickBooks is actually made in Mountain View, California. If you have any problems with QuickBooks or things you want to pass on to me that you would like me to tell the team, I would be happy to do that, although they don't listen to me very much more than they probably listen to anyone else. But anyway, I've used QuickBooks for many, many years. I think it's very helpful for small business. And I have put a little presentation together just to kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to use it for your business accounting and those kind of things. Here's some kind of just a broad overview of QuickBooks. So basically, if you're new to QuickBooks or you have QuickBooks and you've been struggling to kind of use it and get the most value out of it, keep in mind that you can use QuickBooks for very specific things in the beginning if you want to. Some people use it only for entering their checks. Some people use it only for invoicing. And so even though QuickBooks has a wide range of things that it does, if you have QuickBooks and you've been struggling to get started on it, you might pick one area that, like, I really want to get my invoicing or my billing started, or I want to start entering all my checks and reconciling my bank account every month, and just let the other things go. Don't be overwhelmed by all the things QuickBooks can do. And if whoever's doing your taxes or doing your, helping you prepare your financial statements or your income taxes every year, whatever you can get into QuickBooks, whether it's reconciled, whether it's perfect, whether it's messy, will still help them. Whatever reports you can generate in QuickBooks absolutely will help your tax preparer, even if you're not an expert at it, and even if you think that they're not great. Every little bit helps in terms of organizing and getting your paperwork in there. Also, QuickBooks has a function for people that want to go paperless, that you can now attach the invoices that you're paying with checks. So that's also some kind of fun to try out if you haven't done it. If you haven't tried it before, is as you pay an invoice in QuickBooks, you can actually attach that invoice paperless to your QuickBooks file and start moving your own office, more paperless rather than trying to file and save all those receipts. My point of view on QuickBooks, honestly, is to approach how you're setting up your QuickBooks is how you would run your business. Use it to manage your profitability. Put anything in the QuickBooks chart of accounts that's going to help you. There's kind of no right or wrong answers. Anything you give your tax person, they can use. And they will probably give you some tips about how they want you to split out certain accounts or this and that. But feel free to use, the best value you can get from QuickBooks is to create a profit and loss statement that really tells you about your business and the things that you want to know and you want to keep track of. And also, where a lot of people struggle with QuickBooks is they tend to put a lot of things in their income statement or their profit and loss statement that are really assets of their business. And we've got different lender representatives here today for business loans. And the more you can kind of get into QuickBooks and become more familiar with why you don't want to have an expense called equipment and you'd rather set up equipment as an asset, from an income tax perspective, you're still going to get the deduction. But if you can set up your QuickBooks balance sheet, you're actually going to start having a business that looks pretty good, and it's going to be something more that you can present to a lender. Now, I've just kind of contradicted myself probably in the last 5 minutes because I've said don't worry about what you put in QuickBooks, but I'm also going to show you some of the things that if you can get a little bit of training and get a little bit of more user-friendly in QuickBooks, if you become more familiar with QuickBooks, you can really start setting up your QuickBooks for your business to where you can show your assets and your liabilities and everything in QuickBooks, so that if you need to take it to potentially lease new space to expand your business or get an SBA loan or go talk to your